How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Palantir, which was down 3% on the day. We've been seeing a strong sell off inside of the market. So I'm getting a lot of questions saying, Dre, we need to get an update on this play. How do you feel about it and so forth? So I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is a technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support, we want to know resistance, we want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Palantir. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $11.96, being down 3% on the day. On the low, it tested $11.86, and then on the high, testing $12.73. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 30.108 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 26.92 million shares. So we had above average volume on the day, but we had a slight pullback in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it's at 42.50. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, the 100-day, the 21-day EMA, and as well as the 50-day. So like many other tech stocks inside of the market, we could see that Palantir has been on quite the downtrend, and it's also trading below all of our major moving averages, which puts it in a bear market. So if this pullback does continue in Palantir, the next level I want to see hold up will be right here around $11.35. And if this level does break, then we want to see Palantir holding up right here around $10.87. So these are some levels that you're going to want to keep an eye on, especially when we take a look at this last candle, which was today, since we've had a good amount of selling pressure in the market, and it has been selling off pretty strongly for the past 3 trading days as well. So if you're looking for a reversal, you want to see some strength out of this stock, it needs to come back above the 21-day EMA, which is right around $12.73. And if it's able to get above $12.73, that's where I want to see if Palantir can make that move to fill in this gap to the upside, which is right here around $13.91. So that is something you want to keep an eye on, especially if the market does turn around. I can see Palantir doing this, but if we end up having some consolidation and so forth, that is not too bad either. But by the way of how things are looking, it looks like you might continue to see a downtrend, but at least you know what it looks like towards the upside. Now let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Palantir. As we scroll down further on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So taking a look at the recent filings for the 22nd, we have CVA Family Office LLC that has a call position which was closed, and we also have Washington Capital Management Inc. that has a put position with a value of shares of 17,300, and then we have CVA Family Office LLC that purchased 230 shares, and we also have White Knight Strategic Wealth Advisors LLC that purchased 11,100 shares, and then we have Discipline Investments LLC with a light position here of 4 shares. Like, they really have to follow that. And then we see some more closed positions here, and just to take a quick look for the 21st, we have Riverview Trust Company that purchased 1,269 shares. So now when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 39.91%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 5.15 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, short shares availability is at 10 million, updated 14 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 0.27%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, you can see for the close of the 20th, it is at 37.86, and then for the close of the 21st, it is at 39.91. So what this shows us right away, there is a lot of short interest in Palantir, but we also can't forget the fact that the short interest percentage of the float is at 6.46%. Plus, on top of that, as far as for the short shares availability, it is at 10 million. So I would say it doesn't have short squeeze potential potential whatsoever. So now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Palantir. So we see on the inflow it's at 44.21, and then on the outflow it's at 45.54. So we had an outflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large it was 0, on the medium it was 28.19 million, and then on the small it was 16.02 million. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large it was 0, on the medium it was 30.15 million, and then on the small being at 15.39 million. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for April the 22nd, which is today, we had 0. But on the 21st, we had an outflow of negative 0.31 million, but we did see some inflows on April the 19th and as well as the 18th, which was 1.34 million and as well as 2.24 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders, it tends to represent the retail side. We had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had 0 on both sides. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 1.49%. So this is not too bad for a stock like Palantir. And what this shows us, there are still many who are holding on to their positions. So let's go on to the final thoughts, and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for Palantir, the recent news that has come out, we have an analyst from Piper Sandler that gave them a price target of $16 a share. So there is upside from where the current price of the stock is. And what I want to bring to your attention is that it also has a gap that needs to be filled to the upside at $13.86. So that is one thing you're going to want to keep very close note of. And why is that important? They do have earnings that's supposed to be coming out on May the 9th. So we might be able to look forward to a run up for it to fill in that gap and then seeing if it can get to $14. Now, if it decides to pull back or we have some more weakness inside of the market, then I want to see support hold up at around $11.35. And if that doesn't hold, then I want to see some strength around $10.87. So again, keep a very close eye on this play. Use those levels, especially if you're thinking about trading it. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership, we could see institutions have been loading up on shares, and we have been seeing some closed positions as well. And then taking a look at the short interest information, yes, there's a lot of shorts who are involved in the play, but we have to be clear, Palantir doesn't have short squeeze potential whatsoever. So I want to make sure you're fully aware of that, but if we see strength coming back into the tech sector, then I do expect Palantir to move alongside with it. And this is where you got to ask yourself that question. Are you going to be a trader or are you going to be an investor? There's a lot of people complaining saying, why is this stock pulling back? Why doesn't it go up? This is not fair. And I say it like this. If you are an investor, you should not care whatsoever. If it is pulling back, that gives you the opportunity to buy more shares in the stock since you have high conviction. So if you don't have high conviction and you're holding this play, then you shouldn't have bought it in the first place. Again, there's a difference between being an investor and being a trader. If you are a trader, then what you need to use is have a strategy in regards to your entry and as well as your exit. And if the play goes in the opposite direction where you want it to go, you have to have the right risk management in place to protect yourself on the downside. I want to make sure I'm emphasizing this because I'm getting so many messages about this play and people are just complaining about why is it going down? When is it going to go up? Figure out what the right strategy is for you and what will keep you sane at the end of the day. But knowing that Jerome Powell has been hawkish and we have 50 basis points being on the table and then we have the Fed meeting at the beginning of May, there's going to be even more volatility and I just want to make sure you're prepared for that. So I hope you enjoyed this video and I can't wait to see how this stock performs going into next week. We'll talk soon.